Welcome, guys. Welcome into the franchise, guys. We are, as you know, we are doing Pixar, and this week we're doing two movies. The first of which is going to be Toy Story 2. Very excited to get this one underway because the tiny little things we've talked about, I feel like we're gonna have some fun opinions today. So take us away, as they say. Intro.
I think it's going to be an interesting time too.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
this is the third Pixar movie. The first sequel, first of many sequels that we will see later on. Um, let's just get into the facts first. How about that?
Let's do it. Fact me
Um,
up.
so if you remember last week, Bugs Life had a $45 million budget. This
Yes.
movie had $90 million budget.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Literally double.
So that is almost 3 times as much as the original.
Damn.
Opened to 57.3 million opening weekend, 511 million worldwide. So you could say it was a success, I guess.
Yeah, definitely.
Um, this movie is one of two Disney animated movies to win a Golden Globe for Best Feature Comedy or Musical.
All right.
Can you name the other two?
I have no idea. You said one of two or one of
Beauty,
three?
well, it's one of three: Beauty and
Okay.
the Beast and Lion King.
Oh, okay.
So it's up there with some very acclaimed movies.
Definitely. Wow. Those are some
Um,
movies to stand next to.
these next two facts, I love these facts. They're relatively known, but I felt like it would be bad if we didn't talk about them. Um, the whole movie was almost deleted, but
I heard about
due
that.
to a recent copy that was made for a supervisor that was on maternity leave, they were able to save the whole movie.
Man. All right.
Um, and this movie was originally planned to be a direct to video 60-minute sequel instead of a feature length theatrical release.
Interesting. I
Can
feel
you
like,
imagine if Toy Story 2
dude,
went the way of Aladdin 2
that would
or
have
any of
crashed
those
and
movies?
burned so hard, and there would probably be not be a third or fourth.
Literally crazy.
Jesus Christ.
Um so this is a relatively new fact,
Okay.
okay?
All right.
So on Rotten Tomatoes, it is now the highest rated movie of all time because
Wow.
Citizen Kane was found to have a negative review from back in the day, which they added to Rotten Tomatoes.
Okay.
And then Paddington 2 took over as the highest rated movie,
Interesting.
and it was discovered to have a negative review. So now Toy Story is number one.
The negative reviews on both those movies were Toy Story 2 is better than these movies. Negative review. Somebody
um,
asked, how did it almost get deleted? I'd like to hear that story too, if you know.
So they put in a command that is pretty much a delete command by accident and just wiped the whole server. Just the whole server
Oh
was
my
gone.
god. Dude,
So
imagine being the guy who did that.
dude, I know. When I saw that, I was like, dude, I can't even imagine feeling like, oh my god, I just deleted this movie.
Yeah, right.
He deleted $511 million worth of footage.
Literally. Goes to write two negative
Um,
reviews on Toy Story 2. No, please don't.
um, those are the facts that I have. Now we're gonna get into some deleted scenes that I think Connor wants to talk about.
Yes, yes. There's two deleted scenes in the movie that one of them is a deleted scene that would have changed the entire opening of the film, and the other one is actually just a deleted scene that actually was a deleted blooper from the blooper reel in the during the credits. Um, the deleted scene from the beginning was basically it would have affected the entire plot of the film in my opinion because it was a different way of how Woody got to the yard sale. So in the beginning of the movie, we'll talk about it in a bit. He meets Wheezy, and they go through a whole thing where, he gets put into the box, and then Woody has to go save him. But in in the deleted scene, they're doing like they're kind of playing in Andy's room, and Rex is acting like Godzilla. So he's bashing through buildings, stuff like that, and then he spins around and knocks Woody out of the window, and he lands in the yard sale. Um, which the animators actually said like they felt like the scene was too like obvious, like oh he's just gonna fall out the window and fall in the thing, like it's too coerced or coincidental, you know. And I much prefer the one that they left inside the movie with Wheezy and everything. I think it was a much better intro scene for sure.
I
And then
100% agree.
yeah, it was definitely not as impactful. And also you don't have the amazing "You Got a Friend in Me" at the end of the movie with Wheezy,
Yeah, that's
which
true.
we'll get to. Um, and then the one that I was very excited to tell you about, and I'm sure all of you are gonna love this, is in the post credits scene. And Disney was like so fast to remove this. They might have even removed it before then. I'm not sure, but I think I remember them talking about Disney removing it. There is a clip of Stinky Pete standing inside of his box with two Barbie dolls. And
Mm-hmm.
you remember that clip? And
Yep.
he goes, you know, I could probably get you a part on Toy Story 3. And he's like, oh, are we back? Are we still rolling? Oh. And that is like, oh man, like after all the like sex scandals and shit that we've had in Hollywood, and I think there was even I saw a thing about a sex scandal with one of the guys that made this movie.
Yep, the director.
Yeah, like oh dude, they had to burn that one in the freaking kiln, man. Like that's a terrible scene to leave in the movie, especially a kids movie.
Yeah, that's probably for the best,
Yeah.
especially with who directed this movie and just his connection to Pixar. Just get it out of there.
Yeah, just be gone with that. All right, that's all I had for deleted scenes.
All right, so what did you think of Toy Story 2, Connor, before we get into the plot?
That's the question, isn't it?
It is.
Um, Toy Story 2 is probably one of my favorite Pixar movies. I actually love this movie. I was surprised when you talked about the money that it made and it wasn't higher, honestly.
Well, you have to also remember this was in 2001.
Oh
Like
yeah, true.
2001, $511 million is crazy.
That's true. That's true. Can't argue with that.
Um, yeah, it's like it's not until probably 6 or 7 years after this when box office started to kind of get a little nuts, and then probably even 10 years is when it started getting like insane.
Yeah, of course. To answer your question, Second Side, we are watching every single movie every week, so we are we're fresh. I just watched mine like an hour and a half ago, 2 hours ago when I
Yep,
finished it,
I watched it yesterday, and
and we have a whole
every week before the review, we'll rewatch the movie that we are reviewing.
yep.
So it's not just based off of memory. It is current, up to date, flowing
I
lists
have a
that we are making here.
giant thing of notes from the movie. So, um, but yeah, dude, I don't know. Like, we'll get into it later, but just the I'll just say off the bat the amount of Star Wars references, man. Just the amount of Star Wars references alone makes this movie top tier. Uh, besides that, I just adore like every one of the characters, and I love all the different like things that they go through and all the like growth that you see from each of the characters. I don't know. It's just always been one of my faves. It's one I could watch
I
a
mean,
lot for sure.
yeah, I mean, Pixar is Pixar. You know, they're
Yeah,
gonna make great movies, and this is
definitely.
no exception. It's a great movie. I
Yeah,
mean, the Toy Story, uh, the four movies are just they're iconic for a reason. You know,
yeah.
um, like you said, I love the characters. I love seeing the characters. I love seeing them all together.
Oh yeah,
I just can't get enough of them, especially the side characters. You see a lot more of the side characters in this movie, and I
yeah.
like that.
I love that too.
Um, but we'll save a little bit more of that for the ending because we are going to go right into the plot of the movie where we open up in
Yes,
space.
yes, we
Very
do.
intense, this credit opening
I
sequence.
loved it, dude.
If you don't know what you're getting into, you're like, what the hell is happening? Am
You're
I in the
about
right
to.
movie? Um,
I saw a
Buzz
thing
Light.
really quick
Mhm.
talking about in the I'm gonna turn the audio off. In the stars here, you could apparently this
Yes,
is the
the
Pixar
Pixar
lamp.
ball.
Yeah.
Yep. Or the lamp or ball? Yes, the lamp. I
Yeah.
see that. Um, I didn't notice that. I read that as one of the facts.
Same.
Um, Buzz Lightyear flies through Gamma Quadrant Sector 4
Bunch of
onto an
words.
unknown planet. He is then surrounded by clones. The only thing missing here is one of them saying Roger Roger.
True.
That
Very
would
true.
have been top tier.
Oh yeah.
And like you said, man, so many Star Wars things happening here.
Darth Vader
From
breathing.
the breathing, the blaster pistols, the
Yep.
droids,
All of them.
the eye coming out of the wall.
Yep.
There's just so much happening here. Buzz enters an underground lair. He starts to run through it. He finds the energy source for Zurg. He tries to grab it. It is a fake. Emperor Zurg is pretty much just Darth Vader.
Yeah. Basically. We'll get
see
there
a little
later.
bit more of him a little bit later on.
Yep.
But yeah, he's pretty much Darth Vader. Buzz gets shot in half.
He sure
Just
does.
clean in half. And it's revealed that Rex is playing a SNES game.
Yep.
And I'll tell you, if SNES games looked like this,
dude, right?
it would still be around.
Imagine. That would be insane.
The game consoles now could barely do that.
Yeah, right.
Woody's freaking out because he can't find his hat. Because Andy wants to take him to cowboy camp, and you can't go to cowboy camp without your hat.
Nope. It's a violation.
And Buzz thinks they're gonna be roasting schmoes instead of s'mores.
They sure are.
Every single time that makes me laugh.
Delicious hot schmoes. Same.
Bo Peep apparently wants Buzz to just watch her and Woody fuck because she's like, yeah, just let him watch.
Let him watch.
Like, all right, that's their thing.
Yep, they just love it like that, you know.
Her sheep then attack Rex, and the TV gets turned on, and we see Al's Toy Barn commercial. Him in a little chicken suit. I love that suit.
Same.
This dog has fur.
It does. The first one.
A new thing for the Toy Story franchise. The dog has the fur.
Beautiful, beautiful dog. Buster, best boy.
He is, and he's looking for Woody. And he only listens to Woody apparently because. Well, why listen to your human master when they are trying to give you commands?
Nope.
Instead, they will just listen to the toys.
Yeah, of course. Makes sense.
So that Andy's mom yells to him that he has 5 minutes to leave. Andy's like, oh, 5 minutes? Cool, I'll play with my toys.
And the meme is created.
I'll tell you, the elaborate setup that this kid was able to do in literal seconds, apparently,
dude,
is crazy.
It's the mind of a child, bro. What do you expect?
No, I think he's Quicksilver.
I mean, there's no proof. We've never seen them in a room together.
Exactly. I mean, there's no way he's not a human doing that fast.
I can't argue with that, honestly.
He rips Woody's arm on accident, and what do? They just put him on the shelf. Screw this toy.
Yep, put him away.
He just gives up so fast. He really must be Quicksilver.
Too quick.
Then we enter into the nightmare scene that you were talking about last episode, or in the first Toy Story episode, where he is dropped in the Ace of Spades, which, by the way, it means death in tarot cards.
Okay.
I didn't know if you knew that.
I did not know that. I don't want to play with you anymore.
Scene is terrifying.
It is.
I hated that scene as a kid.
Same, but I adore it. Either way, even though it's terrifying.
Woody finds Wheezy up on the shelf, and this poor toy.
I know. Poor Wheezy.
Which this leads me to ask this question. So these toys, they're toys, right?
Yes, hopefully.
So they have taken pretty bad falls before.
Yeah.
And they're toys. They're going to be fine, especially like Squeaky
I
and
was gonna say,
Woody.
especially
Like
him, yeah.
nothing's going to break on them.
No.
Why don't they just fall? Why don't they just jump off?
I thought the same
Especially
thing.
Wheezy.
Yeah, I thought the same thing. There's no way he
Like,
couldn't have survived that fall.
exactly.
What's he gonna do? Die? No.
I don't get why they just kind of stay up there.
I think that Woody stays
and
up there for the continuity of Andy coming home, but at the same time, that all gets blown away in like the next scene. So
yeah, exactly.
it doesn't matter.
Andy's mom is throwing a yard sale. And just goes through Andy's room and starts to sell his actual trash. Like some of the stuff she pulls out.
Yep.
Like why even bother? No one's gonna buy that.
Literally, like old skates that were like 500 years old. For some reason, they're as bad.
They were literally just one big pile of rust.
Yeah, literally.
Andy's mom takes Wheezy as part of that, so Woody decides, you know what, I'm actually just gonna jump off this thing.
Yeah, screw it.
Rides Buster to the yard sale to try to save Wheezy.
And then
but the king thinks that he just wants to be sold. And when he jumps into the 25-cent box, they're like, you're worth more than that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, we get some of the best dialogue in the movie in that scene. Oh, Woody, you're worth more than that. I love that scene so much. The scene with the dog where he's like, too casual, too casual.
Yes.
It cracks me up every time.
Woody gets thrown off Buster after saving Wheezy and is now part of the yard sale where Newman, I mean Al, picks him up and tries to buy him for 50 cents.
Freaking loses his mind.
And then he offers $50.
Yep.
And I'll tell you what.
You like my watch?
If this parent has some self-control.
Dude, for real.
If someone offered me $50 for some literal doll that my child plays with that just ripped, I'd be like, take it.
Right.
I'll buy him something with. I'll give him 25 of these dollars.
I'll give you $25 to shut up, kid.
Exactly. Buzz tries to save Woody, but after he's thrown from Al's car, he only has a feather, and he just has to wait.
I really love the sequence with the where he's trying to figure out the license plate. It's top tier.
Yes. Where he's like punching it into the speak and spell, and it's coming up with all these weird things.
Yeah.
So we show up at Al's apartment, and the apartment does not allow children. And I would just love to know where this is.
Same.
Because I would like to put in my application to move there as quickly as possible.
I would like to be your roommate. Let's do it.
Yeah, because like no kids in there, sign me up.
A skyscraper too. Even better.
The toys realize eventually through the speak and spell and through Etch-a-Sketch that it is the chicken man that they saw on the TV who stole Woody. So what are they going to do? They're going to go try to find them. Woody tries to escape the apartment. While Al complains about driving to work, that is literally 15 seconds
across the street.
So I love that scene so much because that is so something that I would do.
Yeah. There was also a scene that I mentioned to you earlier where they changed the scene a little bit, and in changing that scene, they decided they wanted Al's Toy Barn just across the street from where he lived, just to make it like easy for them to do that scene.
Yeah,
I thought it was pretty funny.
It's a great scene.
Yeah.
We then finally meet Bullseye, Jesse, and Prospector Pete.
Yeah. Best.
I love Bullseye.
Same.
You know, Bullseye is a classic.
Really, honestly.
Al's Toys know Woody by name, which is weird.
Yeah,
you know, because like you don't know who these weird people are. And then we get this really cool shot of all these Woody memorabilia things.
Yep. Amazing stuff.
Like the yo-yos and all that stuff. And then we get to watch some of Woody's Roundup, which aired in the 50s.
Yep. Best show.
And
best song.
You know, if I was a kid in the 50s, I'd be all over that.
Dude,
show.
I would lose my mind. And yes, all Woodies would be called Woody, and all of them are called Buzz.
Yeah, all of them are called Buzz. We see that a little bit later.
Yes.
Prospector is embarrassed to be the dumb comic relief when he
Yep.
has a pickaxe in his ass,
Yep.
which I loved that scene. So where is it?
He just like looks down like, oh god.
um, let's see. Ham is going through channels on the TV to try to find um the Al's Toy Barn commercial, and during that we see a
Bunch of
just a
stuff.
shit ton of
Disney
old Pixar things that
or
they
Pixar,
made,
yeah.
like all of their classic shorts and stuff like that.
Yep.
It's really cool. Um, Bo Peep apparently just wants Buzz to make out with Woody when he finds her, because she's like, "Give this to him for me," and then just kisses him
Big
right on
old
the cheek.
kiss.
Like, okay. Just further proving that she likes it when he watches.
Or when he's a part of it.
Rex is the typical gamer who just doesn't know how to act when he goes outside.
Yeah.
He just is instantly lost, and like, I thought this was gonna be easy.
You'd think with all my video game experience I'd be better at this.
Woody's roundup ends in a cliffhanger.
Like always.
This is where it's kind of weird. It's canceled before literally the last episode.
Yeah. A little convenient.
There's one episode left, and they just cancel it. Like, that doesn't happen. That's not real.
Yeah. I can agree with that.
Woody is told then that they are going to go to a museum in Tokyo. Obviously, Woody doesn't want to go because
Andy.
he has friends and he has Andy.
Yep.
Jesse has a panic attack about going back into storage.
Yep.
And then Pete tries to manipulate Woody into staying, really showing his sideshow Bob.
Yep. Literally.
You know, because they played this. It was the same person. Woody's arm is falls off when Al tries to take him out of the box. It's just gone. Just his arm is just gone. Woody starts to freak out. And then we see the rescue squad that went out to try to save Woody, and they say it took them 12 hours to get 2 blocks.
Yep.
Remember that.
Yeah, we'll get back to that in like the next scene.
It's still at night. Woody is trying to take his arm out of Al's pocket, and the Cheeto Puffs and
Best
fingers always weirded me out as a kid. I really did not like that scene.
It's so bad.
I don't know. It's just something giving me the heebie-jeebies.
I don't understand how any person could let their fingers get that dusted, you know? Like, I get it.
And still have that much left.
Yeah, I get it, but holy crap, dude. Come on. Yeah, and still have a whole bowl, yeah. Jesus.
Yeah. Woody's plan is to steal back his arm, and then is foiled by the TV being turned on. We don't know who turned it on, but we assume that it's Jessie because the
remotes, yeah.
The remote is right in front of her, so like obviously it was her. And then after he wakes up, he just leaves.
Yeah,
I don't know where he goes. He just dips.
I'm not convinced that this is his apartment.
Goes to bed, but it looked like he went out into the hallway.
Yeah.
So I wasn't too sure, like, where's he going? It's like past midnight.
See, I always thought that this was his work office space, but then we see that later in the movie, like actually at Al's Toy Barn, so it has to be his apartment, right?
Yeah, this is 100% his apartment. Woody accuses Jessie of turning the TV on. They fight, and she just kicks his ass because he's a one-armed wimp.
Yep.
The rescue squad arrives from Al's Toy Barn the next morning.
Yep.
How did it take them 12 hours to get 2 blocks? And then
it's
probably
just,
8 hours to go another, I think they needed to go like 10 more blocks or something.
Something like that, yeah. That's just how it is, you know? Sometimes it works out that way.
Of course. They use cones to cover themselves as they cross the street.
Best scene.
They just ruin a lot of days and lives along the way.
They sure do.
Mr. Potato Head almost dies. He just almost becomes the flattest potato you've ever seen.
And doesn't even notice it.
Exactly. I always loved that scene, and I always loved this scene where the cleaner arrives to the apartment. Um, he's the same old man who was in a Pixar short. I forgot to look up the Pixar short's name, but he does have his own Pixar short. I think it
Yeah.
showed uh before Bug's Life, I
I
believe.
vaguely remember that, but I don't remember which one it was either.
He makes Woody Good is New in probably one of the best montages
I was gonna
Pixar has
say
ever done.
this scene is just like golden, man,
It
literally.
is. It's so good. Um, the rescue squad arrives at the toy barn. It's closed, but for some reason the automatic doors still work, so anybody can just walk in whenever they want.
I think it
Um,
might be before opening. That would be my guess.
yeah, but like when I worked retail, we never had the automatic doors working
Yeah,
until we were ready to open
that's
because
totally fair.
people are stupid and will just walk in.
Very true.
Um, they follow behind an employee. They're in. Buzz finds a whole aisle, just a whole aisle with Buzz toys.
He sure
Can you
does.
imagine going to like a Toys R Us and just having one aisle full
Just
of
one
what doll?
toy.
That's crazy.
Imagine, if you will, also going to a place and just seeing an entire aisle of clones of yourself. How terrifying
I
that would
know,
be.
huh? Insane. Um, Buzz, for some reason, tries to steal a utility belt from one of the other Buzzes that
No
is just on
reason.
display.
Yeah.
Literally don't understand why he would do that. Like, he knows that that Buzz is alive.
Yeah.
Um,
I don't get that either. How did you not expect that?
and this Buzz also thinks he's a Space Ranger, which I guess all Buzzes do.
Yeah, they have to.
Still makes me ask the same question as before.
Why are
What?
they acting like toys?
Why? Yes. Why? Does every toy think that they are what they are modeled after?
Good question.
Um,
We'll
we'll
never
never
know.
know.
We'll never know.
And then Buzz realizes how insane he sounded
Yep.
during the first movie. Um, the rest of the group drives down a Barbie aisle, and they just jaws dropped at what is happening next to them. Just the hottest thing that they've ever seen in their
Yep.
lives.
Just, oh my god, Barbie's galore.
Exactly. Tour guide Barbie jumps into the car and decides to help them search for Al because she's just nice.
Yeah, of course. It's her job.
Yep. Um, our Buzz is put into a box and put on the shelf, and a fake Buzz is then picked up. Um, this is the oh man. Then we get into the first "fuck you Pixar" movie or scene that they have made, where it's just absolute sadness with Jesse's backstory.
Oh, I know.
It
I
is
actually
there just to destroy you.
do you know who sings the song?
Yes.
It's fucking Sarah McLachlan, dude. Oh my god. When I noticed that,
I
I was like, that makes sense.
it's funny because I read that Randy Newman had he had some issues with that part because he didn't know if kids would be able to sit through that part.
Interesting.
And that made me think, is it just because you're not singing it?
Yeah,
Are
right.
you are, are you jealous?
He's jealous, yeah, for sure, dude. No
So
shot.
yeah, that happens, and then Woody is pretty much guilted and manipulated by Pete to stay. Um, after we learn Jesse used to have an owner, Emily, and then she was just
Forgotten.
donated, forgotten because of makeup, because you know people grow up, and
Yeah.
that's the hardest part about these movies is the growing up and saying goodbye.
I saw
Um,
somebody say something about this tree in her flashback about how it's
oh,
the tree from A Bug's Life, but I don't think it is.
mhm.
I
No,
personally don't think it
because
is.
the Bug's Life tree is on an island.
Yeah, exactly.
Um, and then we snap back to the rescue squad who are now in Al's. They're in Al's office, and they start talking to the Rock'em Sock'em robots,
Great
who
scene.
just completely steal this scene. It's
Yeah.
so funny.
He was
He
talking
he
to
likes
me.
he starts talking all polite, and then they just start hitting each other. And then they jump into Al's bag. Once they see pictures of Woody being held captive, they think. And then he picks it up and doesn't notice the
Difference in weight.
the difference in weight that will clearly be there, and just carries on.
Did you see the thing about the line that he says when he's on the phone? So in this
Uh,
scene,
the poultry man part?
no. Sorry. Al, he says, "Don't touch my mustache," or something like that. When he,
No.
yeah. So in this scene, I'm just gonna play it really quick, just to see if I can get it the thing up there. So right here, he says, "Don't touch my mustache," to the guy on the phone who's speaking Japanese, and I actually saw a thing, and apparently, uh, Al speaking to his Japanese investor, he hangs up the phone after saying, "Don't touch my mustache." This is a famous English mnemonic of "Dui tashi mashite." I probably fucked that up, but the Japanese phrase for "you're welcome."
Oh.
So he just
Alrighty.
speaking white people basically. I love that part.
As they escape and the real Buzz breaks out of the box and is following them, the arch nemesis of Buzz,
Evil
Zurg, has been
Emperor
released from
Zurg.
his box, and he's just following thing.
Destroy Buzz
Must
Lightyear.
destroy Buzz Lightyear, and he's just God, it's so funny.
I know, I love that part.
They eventually reach floor 23, which is the same floor Al lives on after Buzz climbs half the way and just decides to just let go.
Just die.
He's just like, yeah, we're just gonna die now. It doesn't matter. But they eventually make it. They come up to the room, and Jesse and them are tickling Woody, and they think that he's being tortured.
Yeah.
Which, depending on who you ask, he might be.
I mean, he was screaming like, "No, stop!" Like the way he was screaming, it sounded like he was being tortured.
They break through the vent by using Rex's head.
Yep.
And they're finally reunited with Woody. And this
Mr.
is
Angry
where it
Eyes.
falls apart for me. Just everything after this pretty much just falls apart for me.
Okay.
Woody says he doesn't want to go back. And instead wants to be put on display in Tokyo. Makes absolutely no sense. That is not something that Woody would say.
Nope.
After the crew leaves, he realizes he's being an idiot and wants to go back. And then also finally realizes, hey, I can just ask these toys to go with me.
Yep.
Because why not?
I did dislike the way that they basically where he just kind of like was like, "Oh yeah, I guess I'll just go," and then he's like, "Wait a minute, you guys should come with me." Like, I feel like it should have been like he was like, "We can just all go together," like from the start, you know?
Exactly. Especially after hearing her backstory, I feel like that would be like first and foremost on his mind.
Yeah.
Then we find out that the prospector has been leaving his box as he closes off the escape route. And he's just a dick.
Really quick.
We just find out he's a dick.
Before that, there's a line in this scene where Buzz is trying to convince Woody that's a throwback to the first one where he goes like, "You are a toy." I always love the fact that they use that line in both movies, and it's this time it's Buzz saying it to Woody.
Yeah, because Woody's being an idiot.
Yep.
As the toys are leaving, Zurg cuts off the path to the elevator and unleashes hell with his guns, with the literal most non-menacing sound effects you will ever hear. Just plop, 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 plop.
Best sound effects for that
scene. I love it so much. And then we find out that Zurg is Buzz's father. Yep. Who could have seen that coming?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Rex finally defeats Zurg by accidentally knocking him off the elevator with his tail.
Father.
And Buzz looks over and she says, "Father." The toys use the Pizza Planet truck to chase after Al's car. Potato Head saves 3 aliens who are eternally grateful.
Of course.
And I love those aliens. The aliens need to be just front and center every single time.
Yep, they're so great.
They end up at an airport. The toys find themselves on a conveyor belt of all of the luggage. They are looking for Woody, and then Buzz finally finds the right luggage. But then Pete and Buzz start to fight, and Pete and Woody start to fight. Pete rips Woody's arm again,
Yep.
and God, I hate Pete. He's
Same.
such a dick.
I know. He's the worst.
Eventually, they overcome Pete and they stick him into the pinkest backpack.
That you can
And we find out it is the owner is a little girl who loves to paint her dolls
and shave their head partially, apparently.
and shave their head. It's gonna be quite the time for a little old stinky Pete.
Yep.
Jessie's stuck in the luggage, and she goes down the slide onto the luggage car, and then Bullseye, Woody, and Buzz chase after her. Jessie, and somehow they're able to keep up.
Yep. Amazing.
Jessie is put into an airplane. Woody is there after her. Is put in afterwards after he goes into a golf bag. But before they can leave, the plane door closes and they start to move. And somehow their little toy strength is able to open up the emergency hatch.
Yep.
And in Mission Impossible style, a little bit of Mission Impossible, a little bit of Indiana Jones style.
Oh yeah.
He uses his string to swing himself onto Bullseye, and they escape. We are back now in Woody's house, and Woody is just now getting home.
Andy,
he goes to the shelf. He looks for Woody. Woody's not there. What the hell is happening? He looks at his bed, and it's just all these new toys, and they're all set up perfectly.
Just vibing there.
And again, they don't question any of this.
No.
His mom at no point is like, "Hey, where did you get these two toys?"
She's taking credit for it, of course.
Of course.
She's probably terrified of the toys.
Yes,
she probably had a Sid-like
knows.
experience when she was a child.
Buzz apparently is very infatuated with Jessie.
Yep.
And then it's revealed that Jessie and Bullseye both have Andy on their foot now. Means that they're really part of the gang.
Well, actually, Bullseye has Danny, but we won't.
Yes, he does have Danny and then Andy. He can't really. But Bullseye's still learning how to spell.
Yeah, of course.
Jessie falls with style to open up the door so Buster can go to the bathroom, and then just Buzz gets the biggest erection he's ever had.
He sure does.
And then my personal favorite part of this movie is Mrs. Potato Head adopting the aliens.
Yeah.
And they just look at him and go,
Daddy.
Daddy, and they just waddle over to him and hug him. I love that. That's the best part in this movie.
It's pretty great. Though his facial expression in this scene is so funny.
Just pure disappointment and oh god. Wheezy then breaks into the song he sings, "You Got a Friend in Me."
Yep.
And then we see some in-credit bloopers. The best one, in my opinion, being when Mrs. Potato Head is filling Mr. Potato Head with just all this random garbage.
Including
and
Play-Doh.
Then probably the very last one with Barbie and her mouth being sore because she's smiling all the time.
Yep.
And that's the Toy Story 2.
I really adore the ones too where it's like Woody making fun of Buzz by putting black stuff on his face.
Yeah,
I love that. That's so funny.
The bloopers are great. Like I said last time, I wish they would have kept them.
There's even a Bug's Life one. I forgot about that one until I watched it again.
It
is a 2, but it's not a Bug's Life 2. That's great. Yeah, I think that's definitely something they should do in every movie, or at least animated movies. Yep, that is
Connor. Now is the time.
Now is the hard conversation.
The seemingly very hard conversation. Why don't you bring up our list? Let's take a look at it real quick. Number 2 on our list so far is Toy Story 1. Number 1 is A Bug's Life. Connor, where does this land for you?
I will first ask you
I asked you first.
well, I'm still gonna ask you either way. Do you think this is better than the first one?
Absolutely not.
Really?
I don't even think it's a question. I think Toy Story 1 is better.
Interesting. That is tough for me because I think this is better than Bugs Life.
That's the beauty of the list. That's gonna be the hard thing.
Yeah,
Is sometimes things get put in weird places. Like
that
I
is
still
true.
can't believe Bugs Life got ahead of Toy Story. I thought that was gonna be an uphill battle.
You got lucky with that one, I'll tell you that much.
Is Toy Story 2 being put below Toy Story 1? Is that too much of an uphill battle? Is putting it last on our list so far gonna be? Is that gonna be possible?
I don't
We'll
know,
see.
honestly, man. I don't know. Because
Because
I still think that Toy Story 1 is better than Bugs Life, but I've already conceded that argument. But I'm pretty intense about Toy Story 2 being better than Bugs Life, but I don't know if it's better than Toy Story 1. So this list is already a mess, and we've only watched three
well, that's the
movies.
beauty of it. It's a mess of a list.
That's true.
But it's our list that we have to agree on.
That's true.
And here are my issues with Toy Story 2. You kind of hit on it before we went into the plot. The Star Wars references. There's just too much. Like we get it. It's way too much.
All right.
I couldn't get behind it. Like I love Star Wars, but let's give it a rest, shall we?
I will
I
say it was a little
really
overbearing.
I really hated the way Woody just kind of accepted going to Tokyo.
Yeah,
Um
that's fair.
it like that's not him. He has always been like I have an owner. He is what matters. Like I am a toy to be played with, and just this kind of just takes his beliefs and makes them void. I feel
Yeah,
like.
definitely. He changed his mind
Um
way too fast in that movie
yeah, he did.
or scene rather.
Um and I never like how do I say this? Because obviously none of it's realistic, right? The plane part I think is too much for me.
Okay,
At no point in any other movie, like in any other Pixar movie, from the rules that they have set up within the movie,
like Pixar
ha-
realism.
have I ever been like, oh yeah, like this doesn't make sense. Like this is dumb. But them escaping a plane like that, and it's it's too much for me personally to get behind.
That's understandable.
Now, is it a great movie? Of course it is.
Yeah.
It is it better than A Bug's Life? Absolutely not. Is it better than Toy Story 1? Absolutely not. That that's going to be the hard part.
I think that my only argument against it all would be just the sheer like power of all of the characters that we're introduced to and that we like know from this movie, including Buster, man.
I you're right. All the character moments outside I also have never been a fan of Jessie. I don't really like Jessie.
Really?
No. I
Okay.
She's been one of the
That's where we
characters that
draw
has
the
always
line.
relatively bugged me.
Interesting.
Don't know why. I just never gravitated towards Jessie. Um,
All right.
outside of her and Woody, everybody else I agree was good, and I love all of those characters. I like being able to see a lot more of Ham and Potato and Slink.
I am blown away that you don't like Jesse. I actually like Jesse a lot. I love every character in this movie. There's not a character that I don't not love, if that makes sense. It's
I'm
tough.
trying to think, man. So you'd obviously put it number one, right?
Only because I couldn't put Toy Story 1 at number 2
Mm-hmm.
or at number 1 right now. Um so it would unfortunately have to go above Toy Story 1 cuz in my book it's above A Bug's Life. So that's a
Like
very
clearly
difficult.
above A Bug's Life.
I think so. Like if you just for me if when it comes to because I'm trying my hardest to just look at it as one movie and not like the series of movies.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the like the love that I have for the characters and the rewatchability and like how memorable it is to me, like those things add up to being on a higher scale than Bugs Life. Not that Bugs Life didn't have any of those things for me, but this movie in particular just had more of it. I fell in love with the characters more. Um, I could rewatch the movie right now and have just as much fun as I watched it 2 hours ago. So I don't know. That's what it comes down to for me.
All right, we'll put it at number one.
Oof. The concede. You saw it here first, folks. Oh my god.
It's hard because like I said before, nice ad by the way.
Yeah.
Um,
That's why I said oh my god, because it just popped up right when I was trying to save.
right where you clicked too.
Literally. Okay.
Like to me, man, it's tough, you know.
I can
I know
completely
this list
understand
is
what
gonna
you're
be give and take.
yeah, I can completely understand what you're trying to say about A Bug's Life and how it's underrated and everything like that. And how I can even agree that it would be very hard for me to say which one's better between Toy Story 1 and 2. But I can say at least that for me this is better than Bug's Life in
Just
a lot of
I love
factors.
A Bug's Life so much. I grew up with more Bug's Life stuff than I did Toy Story stuff.
That might be where it
Um,
comes down to as well because I was the opposite. I grew up with so much Toy Story stuff.
maybe, but like up until recently, I had always liked Toy Story 1 more than like Toy Story 2 for me has always been one of the lesser Pixar movies. I have
Interesting.
always put it near the bottom, like
Wow.
right above Cars
Wow.
is where I
Interesting.
would put Toy Story 2.
That is very surprising.
Um,
If I had my own list, it would definitely not be that low for sure.
yeah.
It might even be towards the top. I don't know. I don't know why. Like, I think it might be just the introduction of the whole like extended characters, like all the other cowboy type characters and everything. I don't know. I just love that. And I think a big thing too is just the fact that it shows that there's so much more of an extended universe past what we see
mhm.
involving Woody and Buzz. Because you see all the Woody merchandise, you see all the like hundred thousands of Buzz that are still on the shelves being sold to other kids. I don't know. That stuff is really interesting to me. You know me, I'm an extended universe kind of person.
Yeah. I mean, like we've said before, all of these movies are great.
Yeah,
Pixar
we'll
is
not
one of the
disagree
most
about that.
quality studios out there. So
Yeah,
sure, Toy Story 1 might be last currently on the list, but that's still a pretty damn high bar.
yeah, that's not going to be last on the final list. I can tell you that much right
Oh
now.
god no.
Not even anywhere
But
near it.
I can almost guarantee Toy Story 2 is not going to be first on our list
No.
either.
Yeah, I'm sure
Um
there's other ones that I like better.
oh yeah. But um so I guess our current ranking, number 3, Toy Story 1,
I
number
feel bad.
2, A Bug's Life, and number 1, Toy Story 2.
Yep.
And on Wednesday, same time,
Yep. 6 p.m.
by the
Wednesday.
way, 6 Pacific, we will be ranking Monsters Inc.
Yep.
And I'll tell you, this is this is where I start to get excited.
Oh, really?
I love Monsters Inc.
I do too. Like I was telling you last time, I like after watching A Bug's Life, I just wanted to watch Toy Story 2 and Monsters Inc. like right then and there because I was just so excited about it. It's a
Yeah,
great movie.
I like looking at that list, like Monsters Inc., Finding Nemo, Incredibles, Ratatouille, Wally, Up. Like
Yep.
that's a hell of a list right there.
Yep. Literally every movie on this screen right now, there's just no not amazing movies here. They're all just so good.
It it's gonna start getting pretty crazy, especially near the middle pack, because like anything could be at the top, you
Yeah,
know.
definitely. We could I'll go over it again just really quickly so everybody that hasn't been here or doesn't know what we're doing. So we're the franchise guys. We basically watch entire franchises of movies, so you guys can see how we rank them and how we review them and everything like that. That's what we've been doing today. We this is right now we've only watched Toy Story 2, Bugs Life, and Toy Story. And then on Wednesday at 6 p.m. we're going to be reviewing Monsters Inc. But Pixar as a whole currently has 23, soon to be 24 movies. And by the end of this, in a few weeks from now, when we have watched all the movies, this list will be in its official order from best to worst. Even though in our opinions, there's no bad Pixar movie.
Well,
Yeah,
well,
this no extremely terrible, horrible Pixar movies.
well.
Okay, um, from best to worst, basically from number 1 to number 23, and then you guys will have an official list. If you guys check this link out here, oh, that's not the right link. There we go. You'll see our YouTube, which has our Toy Story 1 and Bugs Life reviews on it currently. You'll see our link to Letterboxd, which has our list on it, and a whole bunch of other links that we can follow us on. So yeah, I'm super excited for Wednesday. I love that movie.
I am too. I
Can't wait.
mean, Monsters Inc. I'll just say right now, as a kid, was my favorite Pixar movie.
Really nice.
Yes.
I'd have to look at the list for a minute to see my favorite one. That's tough.
But after Incredibles, it's coming up to a couple movies that are like can literally go either way for me.
That's fair.
And then we start getting into some movies I haven't seen.
Which ones haven't you seen?
I haven't seen Brave, Good Dinosaur, Cars 3, or Soul.
Oh my god, that's so many.
I know.
Brave is, I love Brave. I don't know if I can say it's one of my favorites, but it's a great movie.
I'm excited to get to all these movies eventually.
Heck
but
yeah.
right now we are going to be focusing on Monsters Inc., which will be Wednesday at 6 p.m. Pacific time. Thank you, everybody, for being here.
Yes, thank you so much, guys. Appreciate all the love. Appreciate everything you guys have done today. Thanks for hanging out with us. Like Andrew said, we will be back on Wednesday at 6 p.m. PST, same time, same place, with Monsters Inc. Thanks again, guys. We will see you then.